When the project came to me, it was already pretty much in script stage. Margot had already brought Brian Unclus on. They asked me to join. The script was evolving a little bit, but not much at that point. And thus began our search for a director. And, it was, the brief had been, made clear to people around town that we wanted to work with, a woman preferably. Obviously the idea would be, the best filmmaker should get the job. But because this was sort of a DC film, the first of its kind, female-led, story about all these wonderful women coming together. And because of all the circumstances, going on in our business and culture at the time, that it would be appropriate to try and find a female filmmaker. I think there's so many reasons to love Harley Quinn. First of all, she's like nuts in the most lovable way. She is, even, watching her in this movie, because you get to see a lot of other things about Harley Quinn that you haven't seen before. And I think people who are very familiar with the comics will know and recognize this Harley. But where she was, relentlessly psycho, let's say in Suicide Squad, she is also incredibly endearing. You get to see how smart she is. You get to see her in her environment, eating cereal, watching cartoons. She loves Looney Tunes. But I think people relate to her audacity, and her cleverness as well. I think she's aspirational in a kooky way. I've really come to admire her because she's much more than you would think. She's dangerous, a little bit unpredictable, but I think just absolutely lovable. Huntress is very single-minded. She witnessed her whole family being massacred, and she has had a very sheltered life, but all she knows and can think about is revenge, and who can blame her? And, what I love about her is just her resilience, but also her single-mindedness when it comes to the mission to go out and, exact revenge on the people who killed her family. Black Canary has a very interesting backstory, and I think that journey has brought so much depth and nuance to that performance. She is, she's just trying to stay alive, and she's stuck in this situation working for Roman Sionis in a club, and clearly he's very despicable, and she doesn't know what else to do. I mean, most people in our world, in Gotham, right, they are stuck in their own circumstances with, no way really to get out, right? That's what happens. I think the journey has brought also a lot of depth, to her character, and I think the fans are really going to love what she's done. She also has an incredible voice. She does all her own singing in the film. Canary is a singer in the comics. So I think that she gives us a very poignant performance, and her growth is also, there's a lot of dimension to it. Our Cassandra Cain is a little bit different than the ones in the comics. And Ella J. Basco, who plays her, she does an amazing job. And she's the impetus for all that transpires in our film. She is a pickpocket. She grows up in a foster home, rejected, by her family. She's out on the streets. Very well-intentioned, but a pickpocket all the same. And she takes a diamond that doesn't belong to her, right? It belongs to Roman Sionis. So, of course, all of Gotham is after her and the diamond, and this is how all these women come together. So she is the driving force of our story. Ella does an amazing job as Cass. She is, you just feel for her. She's tough but sweet. This is her first big role, and you'll see she really holds her own. She's just smart and tough and charming and incredibly lovable. I love our Roman and our Zaz. They are really creepy and menacing, but also charismatic and charming. Ewan, he's Ewan McGregor, so he does an amazing job. I think he's a narcissist, but you can see his power in getting people to do what he wants. He's incredibly charming and charismatic. Our film gives you a really great glimpse into his backstory, though, and he's nuts, obviously, and crazy. But it is Zaz, his sidekick, Victor Zaz, who does all the dirty work for him. The two of them together have a very interesting relationship, and they feed off of each other, their villainy. But they are very fun to watch. I always love the villain in any movie I see, and I think people who also love villains are going to love the two of them. Who would have guessed that Margot Robbie, as we know her today, would have embraced? I mean, Margot loves Harley and Harley Quinn. She loves playing her. She loves devoting the energy and time to figuring her out, her quirks, and bringing all that dimension to her. But so lucky for, audiences everywhere. I think lucky for Warner Brothers, certainly lucky for us. I mean, she's amazing to work with. And, aside from being obviously exceptionally talented as an actor, she was a producer on this film, and she was able to, toggle back and forth and switch gears. But she's just a wonderful person. She's smart, she's collaborative, she's just fabulous, funny, and just easy. I love the world that KK built. It's very interesting because it's very grounded, but very artistic, at the same time. Like, I look at the Black Mass Club, and that's my favorite set in the film. I love all the female iconography all over the set, the statues, and all the busts, and the color palette, and whatnot, and, beautiful, like, textures in it, the velvets. I was looking, we're working on the grading of the film, and I was looking at Ewan McGregor's blue velvet suit, and, like, it's like you could touch the movie and touch that velvet. But it's very rich and sumptuous, the palette and the feel of it, but yet it feels very gritty, different aspect of Gotham. And I think that's the most interesting thing about the movie. There have been a lot of Batmans, there have been a lot of Gothams, but trying to create a world that was different and unusual, but still felt familiar, the Gotham that people wanted to see. I think he did a really great job, and it feels very, very rich and very vibrant. Aaron has created costumes for these women that look like costumes or clothing that women out there in the world would wear as well. So while they're cool and they're edgy, they're not your typical superhero kind of costumes. I think there's already people are imitating the fashion that's in the film. I think the thing about it, it's like in a lot of ways it's very practical kind of clothing, but each woman has a very well defined look, but it is still drawn from the iconography and the canon, because we wanted to make sure that we were respectful to that canon. Harley has a lot of interesting costumes, but she's also, we see her out at night. You've never seen her, wearing what she would wear at home, her pajamas, right? Or, out without the Joker at a club. There's so much that people are going to like about this movie. First, you get to see a whole new group of women and men, right? New characters from DC that you haven't seen before. I mean, most of the DC movies, right? You've seen Batman, you've seen Superman, but these are new characters. And you see a different version of Harley who is beloved, right, the world over. You get to see her, different aspects of her, and you're privy to a world that you haven't been introduced to in films before. Plus, we have two great bad guys in Ewan McGregor and Chris Messina, in a fantastic, new setting for Gotham and a whole new world that's been created. There's a lot that's new and different. And I think the movie is very action-packed, but also very funny, very clever, very smart. It's just a fun ride.